Hey guys, Kevin Shaw here, editor-in-chief of Mopar Connection Magazine. We're doing something really special today, something that has been, no joke, 20 years in the making. I know that sounds crazy, but it's been 20 years since we first wanted to do this, and now it's finally happening. We're here at Silver Sport Transmissions headquarters here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we've got ourselves the 69 Dodge Charger. It's the car that started my whole career, and it's the car that got me to where we are today with Mopar Connection Magazine. We're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of this story, and we're gonna show you every step it takes to put a TKX 5-speed in a 69 Dodge Charger. Hey guys, real quick, we got a whole mess of new Mopar Connection Magazine T-shirts for sale. They're up here at the Mopar Connection store. We're gonna put the link up in the corner, and we have some really cool designs. The first one is my favorite, and this is called the Order of the Big Block. And as you can see, you're getting the full rotation of the big block firing order right here on your back. And in case you forget, you can have your buddy turn around and you can set your firing order the right way and not mess up. Second, we've got the What Does Mopar Mean to You? And it's a whole script of different definitions that have been some of those popular ones that we've seen over the years. It's not all of them, but it's a snapshot of some of the best ones. So show your loyalty to Mopar by wearing it loud and proud. Grab yours at the store today. We'll put the link up in the corner. So let me explain why today is such a special day here at Silver Sport Transmissions. Over 20 years ago, this company used to be called Kiesler Engineering. And when I was a young man and had just purchased my Charger, and it certainly did not look like this, looked a little bit closer to a golf ball in Rust-Oleum red primer, I was looking through a copy of Mopar Muscle Magazine and came across not only a half-page ad for Kiesler Engineering installing the first TKO Tremec 5-speeds, but they also had a big multi-page installation article. At the time, I absolutely fell in love with the idea of putting a modern 5-speed, the same 5-speeds that were coming in all the new Mustangs, all of the Corvettes, and I thought that's what I want for my 69 Dodge Charger. So I had, at the time, begun all my research digging into what was available and what I could do with no money to afford to put a Tremec 5-speed in this B-body. So much so that I even reached out via email to the editor of the time of Mopar Muscle Magazine, a guy named Randy Bollig. Many of you guys might remember Randy. Randy came back and said, oh, absolutely, it works really great. We've done it a couple times in different cars. If you're gonna do it, I promise you'll absolutely love it. Then we proceeded to have a correspondence that resulted in a 25-year-old me getting hired at Mopar Muscle Magazine. Believe it or not, that was 20 years ago, back in 2004, and here I am 20 years later, now at Silver Sport Transmissions, putting in the modern TKX 5-speed in my 69 Dodge Charger. And when you consider the fact that this year marks 10 years of Mopar Connection Magazine, with Silver Sport as our first advertiser ever, this is a big day for us. It's 10 years with Silver Sport, it's 20 years wanting to do this swap, and here we are making it happen in their home headquarters. Obviously, you guys are familiar with Silver Sport Transmissions. They are one of the #1 vendors for Tremec. These guys have done so many different types of conversion kits, whether you're trying to hide your 5-speed or 6-speed underneath a factory center console, or if you're just building a rip-roaring hot rod, they have everything you're gonna need to get that transmission to shift smoothly, to operate like a brand new car out on the road. Today we're gonna take you through all the steps necessary to swap out our big TorqueFlite with a reverse manual valve body and a giant 3800 stall converter, which is great for drag racing, but to be honest, I'm not really competitively drag racing the car. We're really driving it. We're just having a lot of fun with the car, and we're definitely getting it ready for power tour. And that kind of stall converter and that kind of rowdy TorqueFlite just isn't what is going to be advantageous for how we're using the car. A modern 5-speed with its big overdrive, that's a 0.68 to 1 overdrive, is going to drop our RPMs down We're going to be able to cruise at 75 miles an hour in the mid $2,000s, and this is going to be just a huge change for this car. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the perfect fit kit that Silver Sport offers all Mopar enthusiasts, whether you have an A body, B body, E body, and they can pretty much shove it in pretty much any other Mopar that you got. So let's get into the details a little bit. We're going to also walk you through all the steps necessary. We're going to get this car in the air and start getting to work right now. All right, William is making quick work of disassembly. They've got all 7.5 quarts of ATF out. He's already drained the radiator. He just pulled the drive shaft out. We're getting a little bit of fluid out. And next will be the trans cooler, get the last little bits of all the lines out. And we'll have to drop the front of the exhaust just so that he has room to operate in. Torque converter's loose. Shift linkage is loose. Everything is empty. What do you say?
To drop the exhaust.
Time to drop the exhaust?
Yeah, make room.
10-4. All right, we have got our monster Super Street Fighter TCI TorqueFlite totally out with the gear vendor. We're gonna bag it up because it is gonna rain tomorrow and we're gonna put it in the bed of the shop truck. But because this is, again, a really solid TorqueFlite, it's still very much worth keeping in good shape. We're gonna put some fresh ATF in it when we get home and keep it nice and wrapped up, and we'll find a new home for it. There's always gonna be a new project. But this is really been a fantastic transmission. So anyone who has a question about the Super Street Fighter from TCI, do not question. This has been a great one. Reverse manual valve body, big deep pan, 3800 stall converter, nice small converter, and you know, I mean, it's been really great. Gear vendor, absolutely fantastic, totally bulletproof. Really happy with the gear vendor. Totally worth the cost of entry, and absolutely game changer if you don't already have overdrive. Really great addition to your car. All right, so William's already making killer progress on gutting everything out of the Charger. He was just about to put the flywheel in, and I realized we probably should go over the whole kit. So I dragged Zach away from his desk. These guys are selling something like 10 or 20 kits a day, and they are constantly helping out people all day long on the phone. So Zach, I appreciate you taking a minute.
You're welcome.
And going over the kit. What are we getting?
Let's see, we'll start on this side. You're getting the McLeod clutch and flywheel ARP bolts.
We're looking at the RXT clutch. Now this is that's the big daddy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. The RXT, it's step above the RST, more holding power. So you'll definitely be good with that one.
I like that.
Full hydraulic kit, everything from the master cylinder all the way down to the hydraulic bearing. Getting your cross member oscillator mount. Let's see what we got over here. Shifter handle.
Shifter ball.
Shifter ball. Can't forget the ball. Speedometer gear.
Very cool.
Often get left out. Belt housing, getting your speedometer cable, shifter boot, trim ring, all your nuts and bolts, inspection cover.
Now, something unique to Silver Sport, which I think really separates kind of the men from the boys, is that Silver Sport also places the shifter precisely in the factory location, so that if I was running a factory center console, you couldn't tell.
Correct. Yeah, all of our kits, when you call in, we get the year, make, model, console, what kind of seats you have, and all that goes into consideration on where that shifter handle is going to come at to the floor of your car.
Right. So that's very, very cool. I think that is one of the neater features, just because if you are running a center console and you want to have it kind of being a little bit more stealthy, that is something that's really cool. I did go for the 1969 white ball.
The white.
I think a lot of people were surprised I did not choose the pistol grip, but
hey, the pistol grip with the carbon fiber handle looks pretty badass.
It's pretty cool, man. I mean, it almost looks like a Glock 9. It's really trick.
Right.
So that's a neat way to go too. I'm just trying to be a little bit more old school. I actually joked like, ooh, should I go with like an old T handle? But I think it's better to probably go with the white knob. So we're gonna get our flywheel off to William to get in. He's already got blue Loctite out on all of the ARP bolts.
Right.
And I'm gonna let you get back to making money and helping people out.
All right.
But thank you very much, Zach. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we've got the door sills out. We've got the shifter almost all the way out. We just need to get, we forgot to unbolt the gas pedal, so we got to put the car back in the air so we can unbolt that, take the gas pedal out. That'll allow us to take the carpet out and take the rest of the gear vendor wiring out. And with that, we'll be able to scrape all of the insulation that is glued down to the hush mat and be able to pull everything out, get the shifter pedestal out, and then finally cut a hole for the new shifter for the Tremec.
See this square right here? That's for the shifter.
Yes.
That's going to go up in there.
Okay.
Don't need me.
We got to scrape through all the hush mat just to get the metal so we don't gum up the blade. So I made William's job a little bit harder.
It's okay, we'll get through it.
Then it looks like we were shearing sheep in here with all the insulation fuzz.
Make some socks.
Just mocking up the shifter hump that is supplied. We're going to make a few more bends and take a lot more measurements and so we got the pilot bearing in. What's next? Flywheel is coming up.
The clock is just right. Make sure that's good.
Okay, so that's a 130 tooth flywheel. We're getting the 8 bolts. Again, it's a Hemi crank, so it takes the 8 bolts. And the torque spec for that, you said was
70.
70. All right.
I'm going to use the moly grease on just the head so you can get proper torque, and just use blue Loctite on the threads.
Yep, you don't want to use red unless you hate the guy. This is our gutted out mock-up, just to see how everything fits and to take measurements. If only it was that easy every time. Don't get me wrong, they're lightweight, but not that much. Yeah. All right, so we're just taking angle measurements, making sure that everything clears, and making sure that we know our driveline angle. That way we know what to order when it comes to a drive shaft. All right, so ours is a little special because I'm special. That's what my mom tells me, is that I'm special. And what's cool about this TKX is that Silver Sport takes the time to make sure that fitment is absolutely key, and they machine off certain surfaces so that it tucks up a lot higher into the floor, but that it will ultimately clear your cross member. So as our shifter is here, all of this, we'll get another angle here, is all clearanced to make sure that it's going to fit as high as it can inside of the transmission tunnel. Now right now it's curing. They have a sealant in there that needs 24 hours to cure, and then they're going to do a leak test on it before we install it. So right now it's got to sit and cure. This will be something that we install probably tomorrow, a little bit earlier this time tomorrow. But that is very, very cool that they go through those extra steps to make sure that every TKX will fit the absolute best. Okay, so this end bearing is unique for those that are equipped with a hydraulic bearing, and this locator pin is to actually locate and hold the hydraulic throwout, so that when you're installing it, it doesn't wobble around or get misaligned. This is going to keep it in place. So there's a lot of thought and a lot of engineering that goes into making sure that every TKX is not only equipped to match the kit, equipped to match your car, but also has little thoughtful things like that in there to make installation really easy. So in case you wanted to see exactly what they do and how they compare, this is the standard TKX tail housing. This is what Silver Sport does and how much they take off in clearancing it. Thankfully, it doesn't interfere with anything. They're able to maintain all the functionality, and they make this nice recess plate. That recess plate allows, again, for the tail of the TKX to fit really nice underneath the factory cross member. And that is something really unique that's something really unique to what Silver Sport offers people. And I think that is really cool. Just more engineering, a little bit more thoughtfulness in what Silver Sport offers people. And you can see they also will machine off a little bit of the ears here and just trim it up so that you get the best, tightest fitment you can.
Glass.
How's our angle look? Much better, huh? Not really. Well, you're a ray of sunshine. All right. Okay, so what are we doing right now?
So we're going to do run out.
Okay.
To make sure that this round hole is in line in relation with the pilot hole.
Okay.
So you don't get a side load of the shaft coming out of the transmission, because the transmission does have a tapered bearing on that shaft. So if you're not within the 5,000ths, that's the tolerance of side load.
Okay.
That a maximum you can handle. So what you're looking at is, imagine you want this right here in line with the same size hole in here, so you're looking for a full eclipse, not a partial.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Now,
we'll see if it's in line and full eclipse, or if it's off, whatever direction. Then we can use offset dowel pins to move the bell housing in whatever direction and clock it needs to go. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12.
okay.
So, and that's what we'll do. We usually start with a baseline. We have those instructions on a video on the Silver Sport website. It shows exactly why this is done and how it's done.
Okay. Okay, so that's our McLeod RTX twin disc clutch.
Yes.
You've got, and this kit comes with a locator tool, indexes right in, and now you are just keying it, because there is a specific pattern, correct?
Yeah, because it'll only go on one way.
It'll only go on one way. I ask these questions so people can know what's going on. And of course, Silver Sport supplies you with all the ARP hardware. We're putting them in just for placeholders, then we're going to go back around, and you have to use like a ARP graphite. Is that what you put on the threads?
No, these you just use a blue Loctite.
Use blue Loctite. Okay, very good.
Remember to not put your fingers on the clutch material.
Oh yeah, absolutely do not touch the clutch. Yeah, the oil on your fingers will...
And be careful if it's an RXT. Keep the shims right here. Make sure they do not fall off.
Oh, okay.
I measured them and all verified. They're all the same.
Okay. What are we torquing them to?
35 foot-pounds.
35.
10 millimeters get torqued to 35, and 8 millimeter bolts get torqued to 25.
Okay.
See that white paint mark right there?
Yeah.
You gotta line it up.
That white paint mark?
Ah, tricky.
You have to line them up.
Okay.
It's balanced.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't need to Loctite those because they have the lock washers on them? Okay.
tighten these down, just kind of lightly hand tight in a star pattern.
Okay.
Just a couple turns at a time so you can get this pressure plate to kind of walk in the seat.
Okay.
Then you're going to torque down to 25 foot-pounds.
Okay.
Okay. Then you're going to go back around in another star pattern, retort to 35 foot-pounds.
So from 25 to 35.
Yep. Then you should be good.
Okay. All right. So do it in stages then.
So you don't want to crank out in one corner all the way down, because then you're going to stagger it, and you're going to see these fingers are going to come in, and these are going to stick out. You can actually warp everything. And
Okay.
then you can get a chatter problem.
All right. So the whole goal is to get it to seat very evenly. Get that starter in.
Yeah, I can't tighten that one all the way yet, though. Because I got another bolt cut in my
Oh yeah.
top one, the hard one to get. There's a drain.
Here's your drain. Okay.
You drain fluid up there. And this is your plug to refill.
Oh, right in the dead center.
Yep.
Okay.
So all this is basically is when you know it's full is when it starts pouring back out.
Right.
So I can go ahead and put fluid in it now because we already have a plug.
Okay.
So it'll be the easiest time now.
Yeah. Let's do it. I mean, we're not deadlifting it, so if we got a stand that'll do the work for us, then what the heck? As long as we don't have to drop it again.
Right. Yeah, hopefully we don't.
So again, instructions say you got to drive 500 miles with the brake-in oil, which is, believe it or not, just Fram ATF. You were saying?
Any ATF.
Any ATF. Okay. So you just drive 500 miles. That kind of helps break in all the synchros, all the gears. And once you do that, you drain it out, put some synchro mesh in, and call it a day. You said it takes 3 quarts?
Yes.
When you say check the cushion, what does that mean?
You don't want the bearing, you don't want to sit back too far to overextend.
Okay.
Pop the retainer off. And you don't want it slammed in all the way where there's no adjustment when the discs start wearing the fingers on the clutch, the pressure plate. You want to start pressing out a little bit. So you got to have a cushion to make room for that. So the bearing will be self-adjusting. There's no adjustments needed at all. So, but you want a cushion when those fingers do start coming out as the clutch wears. It's got room to give.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll have a really bad slipping issue. What I use is one of these tools right here.
Okay.
I check the depth of fingers to the face of the bell housing. So you put it on flat. You want it to hit right there where the bearing's going to ride.
Okay.
Okay. And then you just lock it down. Just take the bearing. We just supply spacers. You're going to take the bearing. You're going to this pin right here. It's going to center line in that hole right there, and that's going to keep the bearing from spinning around. So what I'm going to do is there's several different ways you can measure the actual total height of this bearing collapsed is like 1.7 when it's collapsed. So sometimes what I do, I just like this. If I put this on here, I only got a quarter right there. I know I'm way out and I need some spacers. So supply 2 of them, and these are 1/4 inch each. We also do sell a 3/8 spacer, and it's an eighth inch and 1/4 together combined.
All right.
So same thing with the spacer. It's got this hole that lines up on a pin. And ideally, you're looking in between 1/8 and 3/8. Ideally, try to get it about right at 1/4. But so let's just say right here, flat. I mean, ideally, you can visually see. I've done some mini of them. I do have an 1/8 inch,
Okay.
1/4 inch of travel right there. But how to measure that? We already know our finger depth. It's this right here. Take a pair of calipers, and you're going to probe, see the height of your fingers, which is 3.538.
Okay.
Okay. 3.538. I'm going to record that back without the spacers. This in there. You're going to get your overall height. Maybe you want to leave this loose.
Right.
Okay. And you're going to hold it flat against the bearing face here. And you're going to compress until it stops. And back off. No, let's redo that. Get bumped. Come back. Lock this down. And we're going to get our measurement here. Just like we did before. .816. I'm going to record that number. You're going to subtract 2.816 from 3.538.
Okay.
Our final number of what we have is 0.72, almost 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
So what we need to do is, ideally, we're trying to get down to 1/4 inch.
Okay.
So what we got to do to get that down to 0.25? Add 2 1/4 inch spacers. This makes it 1/2 inch.
Okay.
So this is what we have. Minus 0.5. Now you're down to 0.222.
Okay.
Closest to a 1/4 inch you're going to get, and that's ideally where you want to be.
And those are the 2 spacers that we had.
Yes.
Okay.
Imagine if you're all the way back like this, and then the fingers start wearing
Right.
on that disc. Well, then fingers are going to start coming back towards the transmission
Right. And they're going to
on the
constantly.
pressure plate, and
Right.
it's got nowhere to go. So your next inevitable action's going to happen. You're going to start slipping a clutch.
Right.
So by having a little bit of cushion, now you have room for them fingers to start adjusting back, so you
Right.
keep your contact on your
Yeah.
clutches.
And then they're not totally preloading that.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is an OEM style maybe FTE bearing
Okay.
we use, that we machine down the ears so it could fit inside of the hole, the bell housing, to be equal to the outside of this. It's really the same style that Ford used in the old Ford Rangers.
Okay.
They're good to 3 million strokes. So they do have a metal piston inside. They're not plastic,
Okay.
so they're not going to break or fail on you prematurely. So
Okay.
they're very, very reliable.
Very stout. Yeah. Okay, we are in, we're indexed, we are home. She is happy. It just took making sure the transmission was in neutral so that the input shaft would be able to index into the splines, because otherwise if it was in gear, it never was going to line up. So neutral, neutral, neutral. You are dead in the water without neutral. Okay, well, we're gonna start tying her down to the bell housing. And then I think William deserves a beer. Hey guys, we're at Knoxville Driveline. We're stepping in real quick to have our custom drive shaft made for the 69 Charger that's gonna work perfectly with our TKX Silver Sport kit. Believe it or not, we're going to a lightweight aluminum drive shaft. They're gonna hook us up big time and really make something that is going to save us weight, soak up a lot of harmonic and vibration, and just be really, really awesome. So we're gonna take you inside. We're actually gonna show you from beginning to end how a custom drive shaft is made. I think it's something really cool. Then after that, we're heading right back to Silver Sport, and we're getting the rest of the transmission installed and getting this car ready to roll.
We're going to build this thing with a 7290, which is an original Mopar rear end, 1330 front slip yoke for the new Tremec TX that you're putting in, 5-speed. So we'll get started on it here and get her built. We're going to build this on this Westport driveline machine here. It's we've been using these for several years. They work out really great. I like building it with the rear up here at the head, so it gives me a little more torque on this end, because this is where the rear is going to be. So we get that dialed in and locked in, and we'll get this thing in here and get her pressed up.
Effectively, this is looking like a 20-foot lathe.
It is in resemblance to that, yes.
But this is going to allow you to make a nice, even bead and weld all the way around.
Yes. This will let the driveline be built exactly as they would build them in a factory, or to spec it out, make sure it's exactly what you need in the car, measurement wise and balance. Now, I do this for a simple reason being I've done it for years and years, and I like doing it. I like cutting a piece of this 1/8" wire. I've been corrected before, so I'm going to correct myself before somebody else corrects me. I like to put this in here in the gap, because that keeps my welding gap. Okay. That gives me 3 places to fuse together. The yoke hub itself down in here, the secondary, and the tubing. And when you do that, you don't have to worry about the torque breaking the weld out, because it's fused in 3 places. And also, it keeps you from pushing it plumb up against the hub so you can't weld it correct. I learned that from an old gentleman a long time ago. These yokes are pretty much what's the same yoke that you're going to use on your rear ends and so forth. So this actually lets us build it exactly like it's going to run in the vehicle. All right, timing and phasing. Some people call it timing, some people call it phasing. Making sure you put your U-joints on the same plane, the same phase is critical. Building the driveline, you want to make sure you get that exactly as close to dead zero as possible. That means the driveline will run in a good phase, and it also helps it, the joints and the angles work out really good. Okay, now we're dead zero.
Yeah, you're zeroed out.
So we go ahead and press this end in down here and start dialing it in for welding. Here we're running highs and lows. We got a high there and a low, which is 180 degrees from each other, so that's good. So we're going to dial that dude in a little bit.
How much play do you give yourself?
I try to hit dead zero.
Oh, okay.
If possible. A couple of thousandths is okay, according to Dana, but I spend a little more time on my aluminum than a lot of people do, because I hate putting weights on it. I hate seeing a weight on the driveline, whether it's steel or aluminum, so I try to get it as close to zero as possible.
Yeah, your tolerance is really good on that one.
I'm within 1 to 2, but we're going to go back and recheck it before we weld it.
Okay.
Because when we start dialing this end in down here, overall length, it cause that end to be out. So.
In addition to obviously the weight savings of aluminum over steel, aluminum drive shafts typically have a little bit of an absorbing characteristic that if there is a little bit of a differential harmonic, it will kind of soak up a little bit of that.
And it also will, now this has got, we put dampeners in it.
Okay.
I done that before you came in because you didn't want to hear me fuss and complain about how hard it is to get that stuff in here. We put a 3.5 inch foam dampener.
Okay.
And that takes out, if you got any noise, a lot of Mopars and even General Motors, they have a big dampener on the rear end, or they have one up here on the slip yoke end, and that is to keep the harmonics out.
Okay.
Well, this works the same way, and you don't have all that weight.
Okay.
So don't do this at home. Without being welded, I live a little bit on the edge when I do stuff like this because. Jig because it gives you if you're a little nervous or a little shaky, it gives you more of a uniform weld, looks better, and it's a heck of a lot easier than it used to be.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've welded tons of these things free-handed, and this just makes it so much easier. Well, now we got our temperature set for aluminum. Each thickness of aluminum, you'd use a different temperature and wire speed to weld. We're doing this on a 52 to 260, so get my rotation going here and we'll get her welded up. I use 80 and then I go down into a 320.
Okay.
And that takes out the grooves out of this.
Okay.
And then I go to a scuff pad.
All right.
So it's a three-step
Three steps.
process. This is the part that I really like because it's putting a name on it of a company that cares about their product, basically. Like I say, I've done this for over 40 years. I've quit several times, got tired of it, but I always come back to it because it's an enjoyment to build somebody a driveline that's going in a car that they're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, so.
My goodness. That was a lot more than I was expecting.
Huh?
This is a lot more than I was expecting.
Well, we hope that you like it and then it turns out good and everything's right and you get your car going maybe today.
Well, we'll see.
So
yeah.
you can try it out and spin the tires and see how good the driveline holds
Okay.
up. Good deal.
All right, brand new, beautiful aluminum drive shaft. Way too good for this car, I'll tell you that. Gorgeous TKX, all buttoned up. We just got to do the hydraulics and the last bit of electrical. That's our speedo cable. And our headers are re-bolted and with new gaskets because we had some pretty crappy leaky gaskets. Reservoir
Like a thing.
is right here. It is plumbed into our master cylinder down here, and you can see we've tucked it away from the exhaust. We got a little bit more routing to do just to keep
our wiring looking tidy, but that comes with just the final stuff. So that's great. Really, William turned out some really good work. That looks really awesome, and we tried to keep it as close as we can to the inner fender. So that looks really sharp. Very happy with that. This is what Silver Sports supplies, is red lines, brake fluid. All right, .4. Let's see how good my pour is. We're gonna let it gravity feed, so it'll take a little bit. The pedal isn't installed yet, so we can't bleed it just yet. But we'll let Mother Nature do her work first, and then we'll just keep topping it off.
All right, you want to do it again?
Yeah, I'm at halfway.
Okay, keep it there.
Okay.
All right, hold it. Okay, again. Trying to pump it up, and how's it feel? Feels good. Feels pretty good? Yeah. That's about halfway.
Yeah. Oh, sure. All right. You boys have seen me put carpet in before. In fact, this exact same carpet color, but we had to change the front half to accommodate the shifter. So I'm gonna save you the trouble of watching me put carpet in. Just know how good looking it is. with that 5-speed sticking out with the white knob. So we're gonna get to work, and you'll see this interior buttoned up before we go on to the next step. All right, party people, that is fresh carpet, a new 5-speed, and these gorgeous year 1 RT floor mats. And I swear, I don't know why I'm so excited about floor mats, but they just look so stinking cool. Huge thanks to year 1. They actually rushed a set of carpet out to us, and it was actually sitting here waiting for me when the Chargers showed up. So huge thanks to the guys at year 1. I'll tell you, the product is amazing and the customer service is through the roof. If you guys are dealing with anyone else, I think you're really costing yourself some added trouble. These guys are just killer. So we are all wired up. We are all good to go. And we are going to take this for a maiden voyage. Got a little bit of adjustment necessary, but for our first drive, the biggest complaint is the tune on the EFI.
Tires are pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm sure you drive a lot heavier than me. You can downshift. Now you're in control of every independent gear.
Oh yeah. Put it. There you go.
Definitely not a quartering car with these runners.
Nope. No. That'd be a totally different setup.
So we're on fourth gear right now, 1-to-1. We're at 2,400 RPM. On the fifth.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Around 15. Alright, so we know we're at 75 or 65 right now.
Right.
RPMs.
Oh, yeah, it's only at 2,000. All right, cool. It's not even hot. I love it.
and ripping on the damn car, and it's at 187. Awesome. All right, here we go. Brake. That was the raddest thing. That was so freaking rad. I freaking love this car even more. All right, guys. Well, it took us a little over 3 days of non-stop thrashing, but we got our new Tremec TKX 5-speed in the Brazen Charger. Just took it out. Absolutely had a rip in it. So much fun. It's just a totally different animal when you're plugged in, rowing the gears versus an automatic. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna go faster in the quarter mile with an automatic. I think the numbers are there, but for smiles and absolutely just enjoying your car, I gotta say the Silver Sport Perfect Fit Kit with the Tremec 5-speed is absolutely the way to go. So huge thanks go out to Will and Misty and Brian and the whole team at Silver Sport Transmissions. Really got to thank them for letting us take over their shop for almost a whole week. Got to thank the guys over at Knoxville Driveline for putting together that awesome lightweight aluminum drive shaft for us in a matter of an hour and a half. Totally whipped it up. Those guys are the best. And to all you guys who've been watching this video all the way through, I know it's going to be a long one. Want to thank you all for staying to the very end. Guys, again, you've been watching Mopar Connection Magazine. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you give it a like, maybe share with your friends, hit that share button. And if you haven't already, why don't you hit subscribe? It'll help us grow the channel. And if you want more awesome Mopar content, please go over to www.moparconnectionmagazine.com, where new articles are written and published every single day, Monday through Friday, entirely subscription free to you. We'll see you there.